check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey, Sean, it's Monday. Welcome back. So we can figure out how to win the one that's supposed to be the hardest one, and that's the NFL. Maybe it's better things to come. I don't know. I'd like to start with what we usually start with on Mondays after the Sunday of full NFL slate. What did you learn, Sean?
Well, I learned a few things. One, analytics have gotten out of control. I'm not saying Harbaugh was wrong for going for two, especially when the play was there. It just seems like that's the new thing to do, is go for two all the time, and they could have definitely kicked the extra point, won the game in overtime. And then the other one,
well, you're kind of happy that they didn't kick the extra point because you took the under in that game.
I am happy, but and I'm not saying it's the wrong call because the play was there. So it's the right call if he catches it. You know how that goes. But then I'm also watching the Bengals-Chargers, and the Chargers get up 8 after they were up 2, after the Bengals come all the way back, get my hopes up, and then crash them. And they're going for 2 while they're up 8. It makes no sense. Why are you trying to go up 10 when you just kick that? Well, I know. I know, but 8's one score. So if you miss the 2-point conversion, you keep the Bengals in the game. So that kind of stuff doesn't add up. Gardner Minshew played great. Now I know it was the Jets. But maybe Gardner Minshew should be the starter instead of Jalen Hurts.
Did you see that post-game thing with his dad? It looks like he's going to beat him up.
Yeah, he's a fiery guy. He's fun to watch. Before the kickoff, too, he was going nuts. So that's always good to see, too, when somebody, they appreciate the opportunity. Yeah.
The job that they have, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then also, and I feel like, no matter what, I would have taken the Bengals 9 out of 10 in that game, and those are the games that always burn me. And I learn it, and I still do it.
But what did you learn? Well, why would you have taken the Bengals 9 out of 10?
They were just, they were playing so much better than the better team. Chargers were struggling, and it just happens every time to me. And then it's the same as most people out there probably. I had a parlay with a bunch of favorites, not all the favorites. And I took the Vikings, and that last play got everybody. And the Lions Lions can obviously win a game, despite bad coaching there too. Like you said before with Dan Campbell, they did the same thing. 4th down in their own territory, they're up a couple points, and they hand the game to Minnesota almost.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I learned is the curse of Kurt Cousins lives, even if he didn't do anything wrong. Right? He hurt. His team just seems to have like some kind of anchor around its ankle, and it's they're dangling it off the edge of the boat, and every now and then they throw it in the water and it sinks for sure. I learned that I learned that inaccuracy kills, Sean. You could say what you want about the right play, wrong play at the end of the game, but the truth is Lamar is inaccurate, right? So when you're inaccurate, those throws are off a little. Now, should have Mark Andrews maybe caught that ball? Maybe. He could have caught it, but it's at the very end of his fingertips. So it's maybe he didn't see it come out from underneath TJ Watt. It's tough to say because we're not in his shoes, but that pass was still a little off. And to his credit, Lamar took the blame at the end of the game and said the ball should be on target. So I agree with Lamar there. I feel like this past weekend, I learned that Zach Wilson has a shot to be a good NFL quarterback because I think he's in the right place mentally. I don't think that he lets the negatives get to him, which I think all the good ones have, is the ability to let all of that negativity from the outside just go. Hopefully he can keep on to that. And let's see, what else did I learn this weekend? I learned that maybe there's some exposure, some holes in the Tampa Bay defense, which could hold them back, I think, in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I learned that Kyle Murray makes a big difference, even though he's a little guy.
Absolutely. He's what makes Arizona go offensively.
Mm-hmm. There's a big difference in their offense for sure. I'd say that's about it for me. Otherwise, everything else kind of, Jimmy Garoppolo gets you close, but still loses. They finally found DK Metcalf. I don't know. They sent an all-points bulletin out for him last week after that one target performance.
Blake, you got to stop.
it's tough to say what's going to happen next with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe Big Ben still has something left.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess I had it right on the total, but I could have went with Pittsburgh too. I said they were going to now that one I could see the rebound. It's a rivalry game, and Pittsburgh just always finds a way,
especially at home. For sure.
And I'm not a fan of Baltimore and Jackson. I'll go on record and say I don't think Lamar Jackson's ever going to win a Super Bowl. When he plays,
a lot of quarterbacks haven't won a Super Bowl. Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl.
I know, but as you know, that interception again, that was just a horrible play. Mm-hmm. He gets away with these interceptions because he's got the flash. You know, everybody likes the flash. They like the running around. They like all this, but he makes some really bad decisions.
What they like is they like the Madden plays.
Yeah. And when he plays good defenses and good teams, they tend to lose on these big games. So that's what you see in the playoffs, and that's why he struggles in the playoffs.
No, I just think he's inaccurate. And if you're not accurate, to me, accuracy is the number one thing in the NFL. And then, if you're going to be a quarterback, the first thing is you have to know which guy's supposed to get the ball. And then after that, you have to put the ball there accurately because the windows are very, very tiny. All right, let's talk about, and I mean, I don't know anything about that, but let's talk about some line movements of note, Sean. We'll start off in the NFL. It looks to me like the over in this game started out the total at 45.5. It dropped all the way to 40.5 to 41. So the money seems to believe that they ain't going to score a whole lot of points tonight, Sean. In the NBA, as we've seen the trend in the NBA, almost every game opened up this for tonight with a higher total than it is now. So almost every total came down except for one game. That's the Bulls and Denver. That game opened up at 214, I think, 214.5, and it's gone up 3 points. So it's the, I don't know if you remember as a little kid watching, I don't know if it was Electric Avenue or Sesame Street, one of them, where they had one of those doesn't belong here. They probably don't do that anymore because, one of them doesn't belong here. You can't be like that any longer in this society. But in any case, that's the one that doesn't belong there on Sesame Street, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. Any
key injuries tonight of note in the NBA, NFL that we need to know?
Well, let's start with NBA. I know Charlotte Lonzo LaMelo Ball is out, and Terry Rozier is out, both protocols. Atlanta, Cam Reddish is questionable again. Portland, obviously, Lillard again. Miami, Jimmy Butler, questionable. He's missed the last 4 games, so not sure if he's going to play or not. Milwaukee, Giannis' game time decision again with his calf. He's missed the last couple.
At least this time they're letting you know he's a game time decision. Hell, last time we took Milwaukee, both of us took Milwaukee. They didn't let us know, and then game time. Oh, guess what? He's not in the lineup.
Yeah,
that's bull crap, Milwaukee.
Well, and then this is worse because earlier he was listed as questionable. Now he's game time decision. So now they're waiting for that.
He may not play.
Yeah.
Right. When you and I bet them last time, we didn't know he just didn't play. And I think that's some bogus stuff. I think considering that, people do actually put money on these games, they should have as much information as possible. And if the biggest star of the game is likely not to play or even questionable, we should be allowed to have that information and put it into our
Absolutely. And some of these are harder to find, or you got to wait literally a half hour before tip-off. You also got Minnesota tonight. D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns are game time decisions as well. So all these you'll find out more probably an hour before tip-off if you're lucky.
Think based upon Cat's shot selection, he's an in-game question. So let's talk about some interesting smart money picks tonight, Sean. In the NFL game tonight, 55% of the tickets are on the New England Patriots, getting 2.5 points, but almost 75 cents on the dollar is backing the Patriots. So big money on the Patriots. The total, most people are betting the game to go over 60% of the tickets, but exactly the opposite. More than 60 cents on the dollar is on the under tonight, Sean. In the NBA, the Thunder, which is an interesting game, must be that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to come back from his concussion. Mm-hmm. But 51% of the tickets are on the Thunder, but 86 cents on the dollar back in OKC, which is kind of strange, right? Looking at these NBA games, you see there's a trend, right? Just like we talked about a little bit earlier in the NBA, is that most of the money is on the over. And most of the tickets are on the over, but most of the money is on the under. there's three exceptions tonight, three biggest exceptions tonight, or the three biggest differences. You have the Pacers, where 74% of the tickets are on the over, but 71% of the money is on the under. Pistons and Thunder, 63% of the tickets are on the over, but 3/4 of the money is on the under. And the Bulls and the Nuggets, even though that line is moving up, which is kind of weird to me because 57% of the tickets are on the over, 85 cents of it's on the under. So most of the money is coming in on the under, and that line is going up, 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 up. That tells me something, Sean, that if most of the money is coming in on the under and Vegas keeps lifting that line, they want money on the under. They think that game's going over, Sean.
Yeah, apparently, like we said before, they do pick sides. So,
well, they're forced to pick a side.
Well, yeah, but yeah, if they're not moving it, they're definitely comfortable with it.
Yeah, because they are moving it up.
They're moving it the other way. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So they keep raising the line. So that tells me Vegas thinks that game is likely to go over. All right, well, let's get to talking about the games themselves tonight, Sean. NFL, Patriots, Bills. The Patriots, as I mentioned, that line is now 3.5, 2 points. The Bills are moving up a little bit. That line's moving as we speak, Sean. So do you like anything as far as the spread is concerned?
As far as the spread, I'm going to take the Patriots, and I'm going to take them to win this game outright. The weather's going to be bad. They're talking 25 to 35 mile per hour winds, gusty. I know they've had rain there. I think it's going to be clear come game time, but could still be wet possibly. But the wind's going to definitely be a factor. And Buffalo has struggled against a couple teams that what they predominantly do is run, and that's what New England's going to do tonight. So I think they could struggle with that. New England's got the running game better than Buffalo. Buffalo's got all these running backs, but they can't really run. The only advantage they have is they have a mobile quarterback, and New England does not. And I think New England's defense is just as good, if not better, than Buffalo at this point. So I like New England to win this game.
Well, New England to win this game at plus 130, Sean. I'm not a fan of that. I would always take the points if you think that's what's going to happen. But you get plus 130. I have Buffalo winning the game. I have New England covering the game, but it's so tight that I can't make any kind of proclamation in that respect. So I'm just going to pass on the game, and I'm going to pass on the total too, Sean. It's 40.5, 41. I have them coming in at 42, so slightly over. Both teams coming in around 21 points. So I could see this. I could see this game 21-21 at the end, and then a field goal puts it over.
Yeah, well, DraftKings does have a special, both teams scoring in the 20s, and I don't know what the weather is.
I'm not going to do that. One of them is going to have an offer.
I will say I do have a prop bet, and that is because of the wind. You can get on DraftKings the longest distance of field goal over or under 47.5 yards. I'm going to go under 47.5 yards.
For how much?
It's minus 120, so I'll do $30 my normal.
30 minus 120?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be attempting too many field goals over that distance, so I will take that.
Probably not. I mean, I could see him trying it maybe late in the game, right?
Yeah, if they absolutely have to, but and are they going to make it with the wind? If it's as bad as they're saying it's going to be.
It depends on which way the wind's blowing. If it's crossfield, it's one thing. If it's downfield, it's another, because it would boost going one way and it would make it shorter going the other way. So that's an important thing to know, if it's a crosswind or if it's a downwind.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's a cross, but I don't know.
Yeah, so to me, that would be something I would want to know, because if it's a downwind, I mean, you might take a 45-yard field goal and turn it into a 60-yard field goal with a 25-mile-an-hour boost behind it. Yes. In any case, I can't bet either side. The one thing I know you say it's windy, but the one thing I do expect is that they can't. So if I think about Bill Belichick, right? What's Bill Belichick do? Bill Belichick takes away your best thing, right? Stephon Diggs. So I expect Stephon Diggs will probably have a tight night, but the other guys, I think, will have a pretty good evening passing the ball. Josh Allen's had some pretty good games against this defense, especially lately as he's improving. When he first started, he struggled a little bit. That over-underline, Sean, for him is only 231.5 yards. As you mentioned, they can't run at all. So the one thing I am going to do in this game tonight is I'm going to take Josh Allen over 231 yards. I feel like that's really, I mean, he's gone over that in all but 2 games. And recently, not many quarterbacks have done that against New England. But outside of Herbert, they really haven't faced a lot of good quarterbacks of late. So this will be the best quarterback they've seen since Herbert. On to the NBA, Sean.
I will also say before we move on to that, you got a strong on quarterback in Allen that the wind will not affect as much. So that's a good thing for you.
Well, you would think so, but you never know. Sometimes he's a little bit on the inaccurate side too, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
So every now and then. So in the NBA, Sean, are there any particular games tonight that you have your eye on?
Yes. We're going to start in the wrong order, but I like the Clippers giving up 3 to Portland. Portland just has not played well since Lillard, and it's not even offensively. I mean, offensively they haven't played that great, but defensively they're even far worse. So I will take the Clippers giving up 3.
So you're loving the road favorites, huh? Going against the home dogs, and clearly Clippers are not playing all that well right now, and Portland is a different team at home than they are on the road for sure.
They are, but since Lillard left, I mean, they're just giving up points a ton, and they're not really scoring all that much. So go there. That's one I really like. Also, Minnesota.
Hold on 1 second, so you can get -3 for -110. Okay.
Also, and I know some of those guys are questionable, but Atlanta just played a tough game against Charlotte last night and lost. Now they're in Minnesota. Minnesota's been playing really well, so I'll give up the 2.5 with Minnesota.
All right, so Minnesota -2.5. Again, that is -110, Sean. For me, I'm looking at that Detroit Oklahoma City game. 205 looks like a low number to me, Sean. So I'm going to take over 205 and hope that both teams can score some points. Though every now and then, Detroit, boy, they're the third little pig in that order, putting up bricks. But I can get that for -108. And then I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say it, Sean, but what I'm going to say is I do think the Bulls covered 3.5 at -105. I like that game. Actually, I can do -5.5 for +105. I won't do that. I'll take -3.5 for -109. Although I do have the Bulls covering that number, I could think about that. And then finally, I'm going to take the under in the Golden State game against Orlando. This is an interesting matchup, Sean, tonight, because Orlando has probably the worst offense and the worst defense, and Golden State has the best defense and one of the better offenses. So I think Golden State will score their share. I just don't think Orlando is going to score much at all. And then I feel like the game will be so out of hand so early that Golden State will start sticking in some of the backups. And at that point, you'll see the shooting percentages for both teams go down. So that total is 218, Sean. I'm going to go under 218 in that game because I don't feel like Orlando is going to break 100. They might not break 90, I don't think.
Yeah, I could see that. And sometimes Golden State starts off slow too, so that's a good one. Also, I had the Detroit game as well. I'm giving up 3 with Detroit.
You're giving up 3 with Detroit.
Yeah, they're just a home team, and I think they're better off right now than Oklahoma City.
I don't think that's the case if Shai Gilgeous comes back for sure.
Yeah, but still relying on
he'll be the best player on the court, hands down. If he's in the game, but I don't know. But I'm suspecting that based upon that line movement, that's what we see. All right, the only other thing left on the board tonight, unless you want something to do in the NHL, Sean, but I'm going to stay away from the NHL for the entirety of my existence. Anything that you see in college basketball that stands out to you?
Yeah, Iowa at home giving up 3. I feel like this Iowa team's underrated, So giving up 3, I think they're a better team than Illinois, and they're at home. So no problem giving up 3 there.
So giving up 3 versus Illinois, I'm going to go. This number just seems a little crazy to me. So Akron doesn't have any advantages against Houston. Houston's one of the best basketball teams probably in the country. And I think what's the line is 33, right, for the game?
Yeah, you're talking Alcorn State.
Is it Alcorn State?
Yes.
Maybe that's why it didn't make sense. So I had it as Akron. All right, never mind then. Good, Sean. You take me away from that.
Well, you know what? I just was on Akron State against Tulane, and they didn't cover. And before that, they covered every game of the year, even though only winning 1 game.
Well, I accidentally put Akron in there, and at 19.5 points for the first half, I was like, damn, that's too many. But with it being something that I didn't have in Alcorn State, then forget it. Error on my part. Thank you for saving me there, Sean. Sure. Now I know not to put it in my own account.
I have
any final thoughts, Sean, before we get up and out of here?
Well, I have one more college basketball too.
All right, go ahead.
Coastal Carolina giving up 2 to Mercer again. Coastal Carolina at home. These teams maybe 50-50, but home is very important in college basketball. So giving up 2. Coastal Carolina will score points. I think they'll win this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real close game. I have them covering by by 2 points exactly by winning. So I was a close one for me, but not enough margin of error to go ahead and take that. But I have been noticing that so far, probably 2/3 of the home teams have been winning in college basketball. So I go through the lines every single night to try to figure out some trends that we can exploit going forward. Now that everybody is out of those neutral site games and into the games where they're playing in a home court of another team. All right, Sean, we got here once before, so deja vu all over again. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, just looking forward to tonight's game. Not too many great games on primetime this year with this much importance, so we'll see how this game plays. I think it's going to be a really good game, close game, and we'll see how much the weather. They always report weather as one thing, and then you see it on TV, and it might be different.
I really don't think weather really impacts NFL games that much, to be honest with you. They bring the balls out; they're all warm, they're all dry, right? So it's
the wind's
not really a grip problem. So the wind is about the only element, but even the wind, like I said, it depends on if it's a downwind or a crosswind. And if it's a crosswind, then you got issues. If it's a downwind and one team is facing the wind and the other team is in the wind, and the one that's in the wind needs to score while they can.
Yeah, and this is a big game for Buffalo. You're already behind New England. If New England wins this game, talk about deja vu again. New England in first place in December. And with a good lead. So really big for Buffalo.
Yeah, I just think Buffalo's defense is a little better than New England's. I think Josh Allen is obviously more developed. He can run the ball. Mac Jones is definitely a stationary target. I was looking at that over-under for him to run 6.5 yards. That's just one run, right? If the field opens up. But the question is, will he get that run in there? So, all right, Sean, just quickly recap what you got tonight. Then we'll be out of here and back tomorrow in 23-3.
All right, I got New England at plus 130 to win the game. Under 47.5 for the longest field goal tonight. Minus 2.5 for Minnesota in the NBA. -3 for the Clippers. -3 for Detroit. Iowa in college basketball giving up 3, and Coastal Carolina in college basketball giving up 2. So I got a lot of close games in basketball giving up 2-3 points.
Mm-hmm. For me tonight, well, that's probably works to your favor because if they get out of hand, it's easy wins, right?
Yeah.
Where losses that you don't have to think about for very long because it's out of hand the other way, which I like better, to be honest. I'd rather just be destroyed and not have to think about it than a close game where I'm watching every last second of it and then cursing the guy who misses the free throws at the end. For me tonight, the only NFL thing I have, Josh Allen going over 231.5 yards. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball, so they'll have to pass the ball. In basketball, NBA, I got Oklahoma City, Detroit going over 205. The Bulls covering 3.5 at home against the Denver Nuggets. And then I have Golden State and Orlando going under 218. That's all I got for tonight, folks. I was going to bet a college basketball game, but Sean rightly pointed out that I completely screwed it up. If you missed the picks, you can go over to Moneyline Madmen. Sean will post them over there. All you got to do is register. And then you can follow us on Moneyline Madmen at Twitter and at Facebook. You can also do us a favor, subscribe while you're here at YouTube, get the bell, give us a thumbs up, and that wraps things up, Sean.
Absolutely.
As always, folks, we hope that your tickets end up putting a wad of cash in your pockets, as well as our tickets putting a wad of cash in our pockets. Till tomorrow, everybody, may all of your tickets be winners.